Hi, everybody. I'm Paul Wilke,
And I'm Janie Gianotsos.
and you're listening and watching the Upright Uptake, a series of shorts created to quickly talk about public relations, the media, getting your voice heard, and making the most of your communications.
Give us 5 minutes and we will show you the PR and media ropes.
Thanks, Janie. What are we talking about today?
Paul, we've had a lot of clients lately that are asking about media training. And when you think about speaking in public, that's one of people's biggest fears. I think right behind that is being interviewed by the media. So today we would like to give you some tips to help make it easier for you the next time you are interviewed.
If you're going to spend a lot of time being interviewed, you should get media trained by a PR or media professional. By all means, do it. When we give media training, there's one area I tell our clients to keep in their back pockets. And remember, and this is something that's easy. If you don't have a chance to get media trained, try to remember what we're going to talk about today, and that's the 4 C's of mastering interviews.
These 4 C's are going to give you some tips that will make it a little bit easier for you the next time that you have to answer some questions with the media. The first C is confidence. And in confidence, this is something I think a lot of people struggle with because we just don't always feel like we have it all together. So one of the things I like to tell people to do is to practice and really learn what you're going to talk about, because the more you're comfortable with your subject matter, the more confident you can be. And that means that your material is going to come across clear. And when you're talking to a reporter, you're going to know your stuff and you're going to be prepared. So practice and prepare, the 2 P's for the first C.
And if you're not comfortable with the subject matter, the interview is just not worth doing. The second C is credibility, and it's related very closely with confidence. But it's important for you to realize you are the subject matter expert in this conversation. The reporter is coming to you for the information that you have. They can't get that info from anyone else but you. And if you remember that throughout this interview, this will keep your confidence high and your nervousness low.
A lot of people forget that the reason that the reporter is asking you is because you do have credibility and you do have information, you're a resource for them. So feel confident, feel credible, and next, be comfortable. Comfort is so important. We talk about this all the time with our clients. What kind of chair are you sitting in? Is it comfortable? Fortunately, with Zoom, we have the opportunity to be business on the upper half of our body. And if we want to have bare feet and sweatpants on the lower half of our body, that's okay. No one's going to know if you're digging your toes into the carpet to keep yourself from getting nervous, or you just want to be a little bit more comfortable. Find what makes you comfortable, find what feels good to sit, find what feels good in your body, and use it, do it, be it. Don't be uncomfortable in your interview, because it's going to come across. If you're not comfortable, people are going to see that.
And that comfort translates into confidence. One of the few great things the pandemic has brought us is we're using Zoom for everything. People are comfortable with using Zoom. People are comfortable talking on camera. We spend hours a day talking on this little plastic box that we look into, for Zoom calls. And reporters are using Zoom as their main go-to source for interviews right now. 5 years ago, it was over the phone, it was email questions back and forth. So right now you have interview opportunities that are being filmed. Sometimes they're being recorded. Sometimes it's just a regular old Zoom call. But you're comfortable with the technology. The great thing about being comfortable and interviewing in your own space is you can take post-it notes underneath the camera. You can put all your notes and comments in a way that's accessible and you can reference, so you don't have to memorize anything.
Absolutely. And yes, cheat sheets are great, by the way. Sticky notes are fabulous when you need to remember something. And that also helps with the fourth C, which is control. So coming back to credibility, you have control in the interview. We have a couple of myths that I think a lot of people believe, and one of them is you have to answer every question that's given to you, and you have to answer it quickly. And I'm going to say no to both of those. First of all, you don't have to answer any question that you're not comfortable answering. And secondly, it's okay to pause, breathe, take a break, think about what you're going to say. and slowing down is fine, and it's absolutely acceptable, and it feels a lot slower to you than it does to the interviewer. So when you know the answer to your questions and you're aware of what might get thrown at you, be prepared, practice, and take control. And you can pivot or bridge when something comes up that you don't feel comfortable talking about. And we will give you more examples of that in another episode. So stay tuned for that.
Those are the 4 C's. I mean, they couldn't be easier to remember. In lieu of full-blown media training, if you remember the 4 C's, credibility, comfort, control, and confidence, you're going to make it through just about any interview.
And the last question that almost every interviewer will ask you is, Paul?
Well, I think I've covered about everything. Is there anything else you would like to add?
Absolutely. They'll always ask you, what would you like to add? And so many of the natural response, I think, with so many people is to say, oh, no, I think we've covered it all. Thanks so much. Wrong answer. The right answer is tell them something, maybe again, that you want to reiterate. Say, I'd like to just remind everybody very importantly that the 4 C's, confidence, credibility, comfort, and control, are easy ways to do better in a media interview. Or maybe we want to give them a teaser, such as sometimes to take control, you're going to need to pivot. So you're going to want to listen, because we're going to come out with a new episode soon that talks about bridging and pivoting and how to answer those questions that you're not comfortable answering. So Paul, is there anything you'd like to add?
The one thing I would like to add before we go is that of all the 4 C's, they all have fairly equal weight, but I'm a big believer in the comfort component. It really makes a difference. And if there's one piece of advice I'd like to part with our viewers is, embrace being comfortable in any interview setting you're in. With that, I think we've covered just about everything today. And Janie, thanks for doing this with me.
Absolutely. And a little secret, I have bare feet. So
that's it for us at the Upright Uptake. Thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you soon.
Thanks, everybody.